Hi, I'm Suzy and welcome to This Adulting Thing. If you are new to my channel, we're basically talking about fumbling through the struggles of adulthood and adulting in general. So if that's kind of up your street, then please feel free to like this video and subscribe to my channel for plenty more where this is coming from. Today I want to talk about confidence, which I feel like as you go through your 20s and start to approach 30, you're a completely different person in terms of your confidence levels compared to where you were when you were younger. When I was in primary school or secondary school, I would say I was quite a shy person. I wasn't necessarily hiding in a corner, terrified to make eye contact with anyone, but I wasn't the most confident. I didn't have a great deal of belief in myself. As I went to university and as I started to move into adulthood and working life, that confidence actually started to grow. And I feel like now I would consider myself a fairly confident person, and I can't believe that those words are actually coming out of my mouth because I never thought I would see the day. When I was younger, I was quite self-conscious about myself. I was always very tall, so you can't see because I'm sitting down on the sofa, but I'm actually 5'10" and a half. My mum always says I'm 6 foot. I'm 5'10" and a half, which is still really tall. But when you are younger, that is like extra tall because I grew head and shoulders above everyone else. Like I was pretty much at my full height by the time I was 12, 13 years old. And I really didn't want to stand out. I didn't want to be noticed. I wanted to stay firmly under the radar. And I feel like we've all had something, whether it's your height, whether it was braces or glasses, whatever it was, there was always something that you'd probably be a little bit self-conscious about when you were younger. And then at one point I was a little bit conscious about my weight. Before I got into fitness, I was a little bit overweight, and that would be then something that I was conscious of. Or when I went to uni, I felt like I'd lived generally quite a sheltered life. I'd never really drank any alcohol. I'd never gone to parties. I'd never done anything at all illegal. I was very much a nerd at school. So when I went to uni, I felt quite uncool. There was people who seemed very wise about the world and how things worked, and that really wasn't me. And so again, I felt inadequate, or maybe that I didn't quite fit in somehow. And I think a part of having lower confidence when you're younger is that you let things happen and you let people walk all over you because you don't quite have the confidence to stand up and say otherwise. When I started working one of my jobs, I had a really creepy boss. Like, he was creepy. He would make inappropriate comments, just generally a bit of a weird guy. But at the time, I was only early 20s, and you don't feel like you can say anything. You don't have the confidence to speak up and say anything. Or even with things like housing, when you're renting somewhere and you're moving out and they're trying to take your deposit from you because there's some dust on the light switch. Don't get me started about renting and landlords because that is a whole other video. But again, you kind of don't really want to make a fuss. You don't want to stand up and argue. And I think often this can be a big thing for girls and women as well, because I feel like in society over the years, you are meant to be quiet. You're meant to just take the blows that life throws at you. But it's only as you get older you realise what is and what isn't acceptable. Nowadays, I am happy to make the awkward phone calls, have the awkward chats, to argue for a point that I believe to be right, to fight for my deposit or to call out an inappropriate boss. Whereas before, when I was younger, I just didn't have that confidence and that strength of character. And that is something that I'm really grateful for in terms of growing up, because how I feel now is just completely different to how I used to feel. If you'd have told me probably about sort of 5-10 years ago that I would set up my own business, that I would have my own YouTube channel, that I would be sitting here talking to you, I'd be like, no way, that is not me. I cannot do that. I will cringe, I will die, I just won't do it. And yet here I am, and it's not actually that big of a deal. I approached my boyfriend, I asked him out, I made the first move. Would past Suzy have done that? Absolutely not. I just would not have had the confidence to speak up and to ask a guy on a date. But it's amazing how you change as you get older. It's amazing to see the change in yourself, to see the person that I am now compared to the person I was. I'm actually quite proud of how I've evolved and changed. That is something that I am grateful for with adulthood. I feel like you do gain a lot of wisdom and you do gain a lot of confidence. There are so many things that I've done that I just never would have thought to do. And I think what kind of shifted my mentality is really thinking, what's the worst that can happen if I set up a YouTube channel and start making videos and putting myself out there and talking about myself? What's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is no one will subscribe, no one will watch my videos. So what? I've decided to do it for me because it's something that I wanted to do, something that was fun for me. And if people watch it, then that's also great. But I haven't got that fear of failing or being rejected because of it. I'm just doing it. And obviously it's paid off because you're here watching, so thanks for that. Even with quitting my job, with having the uncertainty of self-employment, I never ever thought that I would have the confidence to be that person, to be that boss babe who organises their own business and has to hustle for their money and to pay the bills. And yet I am now that person. And it feels so good that I am the person that I always wanted to be. The confidence I have now is the confidence that I always wanted to have. And I think when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, when you see that life is fairly short, when you see that ultimately it doesn't matter what people think of you, it doesn't matter what people have to say, when you really consider your own happiness, that's where the confidence comes from. And what I learned, and it's something actually that my nana taught me, she told me that confidence will only come when you actually take the step and do something. If you're sitting, waiting to feel confident, waiting to feel like you can do it and you're able to do it, you'll never ever do it. You never will, because you'll never feel ready. You never ever feel confident. You have to literally fake it until you make it. It's only by stepping up and by taking the leap of faith, that's where your confidence comes from. And that's how it grows over time. And I know it is easier said than done to be confident. It really is. But the truth is, most of the time, a lot of us do just feel like imposters in everything, in jobs, in day-to-day life, in calling up the council to discuss your council tax. You just feel like an imposter. And that's okay, because you will probably always have self-doubt. We are human. We will always doubt ourselves. But you'll soon realise that the confidence that you gain by doing these things, by making that phone call, by setting up a new TikTok, or by applying for a new job that you're wondering if you're underqualified for, by doing all of that, you are gradually adding building blocks to your confidence. I would say that I wish I'd been more confident sooner, but I think I had to go through different things. I had to go through sort of rubbish relationships or rubbish jobs. I had a boss once who was literally stealing my work. She was passing off my work as her own. And going through things like that and realising actually what your value is and what you can bring to the table, that's what makes you feel like you can do it. When I look back at all the stuff that I've done already, whenever I start to doubt myself or question my decision to do something, I just look at my track record. I'm like, well, I've done worse things before. I've got through hard times before. So I now have the confidence to step up and do what needs to be done. I would not say I'm fully there. I'm definitely not 100% confident and the finished article, the full package. I'm really not. But I feel like by doing things that are outside of my comfort zone, that is what makes me feel more confident, and that is what makes me feel like I can conquer more things. So if you ever do doubt yourself, or if you really don't want to take that risk or make that leap, just really ask yourself honestly, what is the worst that can happen? I mean, fair enough, if there's a potentially really bad outcome, don't take crazy risks on my account. But if it's just something that seems fairly small or fairly simple, but you don't quite have the nerve within yourself to do it, ask yourself what the worst that can happen really is, and usually you'll realize it's not that bad. And by overcoming the fear and by taking the step forward, that is when you will grow in confidence. And if you're kind of like teenager, early 20s sort of age, and you're watching this, the confidence will come, because it wasn't there for me. It really, really was not there. And it comes over time, and I'm sure by the time I hit 35, 40, 50, I'm going to be a boss by then. I will have gained so much more confidence, and I will feel so much better within myself and know exactly what I am capable of doing. And it just makes life so much fun when you're not weighed down by other people's opinions, when you're not worrying about the worst possible outcome. It makes you feel so much more free, and it makes you feel like you can take on so much more. So that is the main message here. Just be brave, because good things happen when you just take the reins, you step up, and you just fake it till you make it. And when you do a good job, celebrate yourself, pat yourself on the back, get yourself a treat, and really celebrate the fact that whether it failed, whether it succeeded, celebrate the fact that you did it regardless. I feel like I've been quite motivational today with all that confidence talk, but I hope you enjoyed watching anyway. There's plenty more videos on my channel if you would like to have a look, and if you do like what you have seen, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys very soon.